the Minnesota Vikings, it hits a soft spot because I thought they were going to be a great team this year. They really were, honestly. Like, they were a good team. It was just a quarterback play that held them back. But they were like a win away from the playoffs. Quietly, at the end of the year, they were 9-8. The offense struggled, don't get me wrong, 26th of 32 in points per game, 20.2. And points against, I mean, you're like, holy crap, we hit the jackpot. 7th of 32, 19.6 points allowed per game. It really was the lack of consistency at the quarterback position. But there are so many reasons to believe heading into next season. And the number one reason, and obviously I'm going to talk about Kyler Murray, right? But that's not my number one reason to believe in this team. My number one reason to believe in Minnesota is because they still have Brian Flores in-house. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Do you know how much of a luxury that is for the Minnesota Vikings? Back-to-back seasons running a top 10 defense in Minnesota, confusing the hell out of opposing offenses and young quarterbacks with different blitz packages. It felt like there were 1% odds that Brian Flores was a Minnesota Viking this season. But they were blessed. He got head coaching looks. He remained in Minnesota. They were blessed. And you have to capitalize now. And part of that is going out to get a quarterback in Kyler Murray. That's what fueled the move. They've been a quarterback away forever. It's been years of this, and we saw it with Sam Darnold. It's always been like this. J.J. McCarthy single-handedly held this team back last year from making the playoffs. But now you've got a guy like Kyler Murray in-house who just needs to do enough. I said this exact same thing about J.J. McCarthy last year. Just do enough to get the offense rolling. You have Jefferson, you have Addison. They will do the majority of the heavy lifting. The running back room is average, I will admit. It doesn't necessarily move me, but it can get the job done as long as you have consistent, average to slightly above average quarterback play, which is kind of what you got out of Sam Darnold, who I will admit had a great year in Minnesota, and that's why you went to Seattle and won a Super Bowl. But this is an opportunity for you to say, hey, we got a good defense, we have talent offensively, let's go to work with the quarterback that can just run a system. That's it, just plug and play, run a system. And who better than Kevin O'Connell to go out and develop and help a quarterback that has struggled throughout his career have a career and have a season where he becomes that guy. Have a season where you're like, okay, this guy can still play football. Kyler Murray was a first-round draft pick. Kyler Murray was a first overall selection. And I'm not crowning Kevin O'Connell as this quarterback whisperer, okay? Because Sam Darnold had a great year, but to be a quarterback whisperer, in my opinion, you have to be like a Kyle Shanahan, a guy that you plug him into the system and he is good to go. Jimmy G, Brock Purdy, who gives a shit? Mac Jones, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, I have not seen that from Kevin O'Connell. That's not me saying he can't do that. But if there was a place right now you wanted to go as a quarterback looking to resurrect your career for a second chance, it's Minnesota with KOC because he's done it already with Sam Darnold. And I believe he can do it next year. What failed them in 2025 was the quarterback position. It was the horrendous quarterback performances because J.J. McCarthy, at so many different points, just couldn't read the defense. He cost them, at minimum, one game last year, which would have been the difference maker, by the way, of making a playoff spot. Like, think about, week 2 Atlanta. The defense kept them in the game. It was a blowout. It was like 22-6. But still, it's like, if J.J. McCarthy even had half decent of a game, they probably go up early and it's all over from there. And that was the story of the entire season. And they were red hot, way too late. Again, another team that starts way too slow and racks up the wins at the end of the year. They went 4-8 over their first 12 games and then won out. 5 straight games they won out at the end of the year. And the run game, too, it provided little support. Like, it's average, but with below average quarterback play, it's not going to do anything for you. But I think they got a chance because they got their missing piece. At least that's what I'm led to believe. And Kyler Murray, like I said, a former number 1 overall pick, who is one of the greatest athletes we've seen in the league. I don't care what you have to say. I get it. He's small. But in my opinion, that just means he's that much more talented. If you have a little guy, 5'6", running around the field as a number 1 overall pick who also went top 10 in an MLB draft, and I'm not even a baseball fan, and I know how crazy that is, he's obviously got insane talent. Obviously. If he can't see over an offensive line and a team was still like, yeah, this guy is going to go number 1 overall, he's got it. He's got the talent. And he goes to Minnesota now. He's never played with the weapon like Justin Jefferson. That just is what it is. He's never had a true elite number 1 in his prime like this. It's all right there. It's exactly what I said last season. This is verbatim what I said last year. And on top of that, I don't necessarily think the NFC North is all that. I don't think it's chopped up to be what people make it out to be. It's tough competition, don't get me wrong, but the unbeatable label, like the toughest division in football, I don't know. I'd have to think about it, to be honest with you. Like, look, the Packers, they still don't move me. They've never moved me. They're not even a playoff lock in my mind. They still don't have a number 1 receiver. Jordan Love, although he had a really good year, still concerns the hell out of me sometimes in big games. And like, the loss of Micah really hurt, and they probably should have still won that playoff game against Chicago. But whatever. Like, they still concern me. I mean, they barely made the playoffs this year. And then, again, talking about the Bears, I love the Bears, but consistency is something we've yet to see, and we have to kind of wait on here. I mean, this is only year 1 with Ben Johnson, and don't get me wrong, they had a great year, but there were also some times you were like, they kind of lucked out there. I still think the Bears are making the playoffs, by the way. This is not me bashing on the Bears. And then the Lions, in my opinion, just missed their window. Like, of course, that's just me saying that. But from what I saw, their window was a few years ago when they had the players young and they had the firepower and the whole league was on their back. And now it's just, meh, you probably have to find another long-term solution at quarterback. The Vikings could win this division. It's really anybody's for the taking, but the Vikings could win this division. And speaking of winning the division, you literally won 14 games a year ago with competent quarterback play, and we're one, week 18 game away from being the number 1 seed in the NFC. Like, what more do I have to say? What more convincing do I have to do? The Minnesota Vikings can make a run and make the playoffs next year with competent quarterback play.